Kevin, the countdown clock is ticking. 10, 9, 8, 7. You'll be there in St. Petersburg, pal. Just got to let everyone know once again. Every week we've got to build this up.
Yes.
Kevin will be there at the Royal Rumble in St. Petersburg, the third most dangerous city in Florida. Kevin, with this being said, today we've got a Royal Rumble sort of super show. So a couple of general topics, with the big one being the 2014 Royal Rumble, pal. It's been 10 years. Unbelievable. But first, how you doing, pal?
I'm good, pal. Let's see how many times we can drive that home. I'm going to be in St. Petersburg for the Royal Rumble, pal.
Pal, you're going to be witnessing Roman Reigns headlocking 3 men, smashing them, stacking them, pinning them. I'm witnessing Roman versus Rock, pal, in Australia. It's going to be so powerful.
Can I say something about that off top?
Yeah.
It annoys me so much. People in the comments, other people in the media, they're like, oh, it's going to be a good match. It's going to be fun. How many times does Roman Reigns wrestle per year now? 4, 5 times, if that? Can we get him in a one-on-one match at the third or the second biggest show of the year? Is that too much to ask? Am I the one that's like out of touch for wanting to see Roman versus Randy Orton? A spectacle? Like, I don't go to boxing fights or UFC fights to watch triple threat fights. It's one-on-one. If Roman was here every week, like Seth Rollins, you want to put him in a multi-man match because he's getting stale, sure. But Roman wrestles 5 times. This year he's going to wrestle, what, twice? 3 times? He's going to wrestle the Royal Rumble, Australia, and then WrestleMania, and then after he loses to Cody, we're not going to see him again? And one of those 3 matches is a fatal 4-way match? Are you kidding me? And it's not Fastlane, right? Like, it's not Fastlane. It's not some C- level pay-per-view. It's not Insurrection in Europe. It's the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But I just had to get that off my chest. Go ahead.
Yeah, you had to cook there as we begin the podcast. No, I mean, we discussed this in full length last week. The clip's popping off on YouTube about that, but, you know, match should be good, pal. I don't know. As far as the spectacle you get to see at St. Petersburg, pal, this is the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. This is a bigger show than SummerSlam. So, yeah, we'll see, pal. Hopefully it's blistering, pulsating, and delivers. But more on that next week in our Rumble preview. Kevin, today, really the only sort of current stuff I want to address before we get to the main meat and potatoes of the show. Punk, the McIntyre segment. We're going to keep it to WWE today. The AEW stuff, there's stories at the wazoo. There's, you know, the Hardy Boys are dissatisfied. Jericho MVP on the Jericho Cruise. There was drama with someone backstage witnessing the CM Punk brawl in, and what happened there with Jack Perry. There's drama with Tony Khan and Jinder Mahal on Twitter. There's always drama with that company. We're keeping that away from this show. That'll be a separate extra. We'll discuss that, you know, sometime next few days, next week. Kevin, I'll ask you this. Punk and McIntyre had a segment. What were your honest thoughts?
So, the segment overall, I don't think it was anything to write home about. I think WWE's social media account was really, like, hammering that one home. Like, I saw the clip of Punk, like, where he's like, nothing will stop me from main eventing WrestleMania. And they're like, oh, CM Punk is cooking. Like he just insulted Vince McMahon in 2011 at the contract signing and was like, I want ice cream bars, pal. Like, it didn't hit the way that WWE's social media account was trying to hype it up to be. Mm-hmm. So I kind of, like, at first, when I first saw the segment, I was like, oh, this is good. Not bad. Solid TV. And then I saw the overhype, and I was like, I don't know. Maybe it had me rethinking things a little. So then I really got to it. I dug deep. And I was listening to McIntyre's monologue, where essentially, if you didn't see the promo, I'll just break it down in a few words. McIntyre told CM Punk, I knew you, bro. I was here in 2009. I was here with WWE Champion. You were not a leader. If you had given me advice, maybe I wouldn't have failed. Essentially is what McIntyre said. CM Punk claps back and said, I didn't need to be the leader. I just was. You followed me. You followed my blueprint. I left this place. You did the same thing. Made a name for yourself. Came back. Just like I did. And that's and then Punk went on to say that we're going to main event WrestleMania. So the crux again of McIntyre's monologue is, oh, Punk is a cancer. Punk's not a good leader. Punk is this. Punk is that. It's kind of the same thing that we saw in AEW when Punk first started. We had the big Darby Allin match, and it was like, oh, you get to wrestle me, bro. That's your privilege, Darby. And then the next story was MJF, right? If I'm correct, or was it Eddie Kingston after that?
It was Eddie Kingston first.
And then MJF.
Yeah, the first like 2 months was Punk being like, "I'm back. I want to wrestle Darby Allin," which feels very similar to the Dom Mysterio stuff. I'm back. I want to face Dom at the house shows. Like that feels similar. But I get what you're saying. This segment got a lot of buzz. It didn't warrant as much buzz because obviously the week before, pal, we witnessed The Rock cook Jinder Mahal as Jinder Mahal was speaking fluent Hindi, praising India, and The Rock ripped him a new one. That was blistering. This week, Punk, McIntyre. I'm happy there's a segment on Raw we can discuss. That's for one. You're hinting here what I'm getting at. You're hinting at there was you say maybe a bit overhyped. I mean, this segment.
No,
Not saying,
well,
yeah.
no, I'm not saying that. Well, yeah, I mean, just like I just was saying that as like a side thing. Like WWE's PR team is doing a lot to push that segment into something that it really wasn't. Like it was just Punk cutting the basic "I'm a wrestler, I'm gonna win, pal" promo. It was just funny that they clipped that part of him like saying he's gonna main event. But what I really want to talk about is that the parallels between the honeymoon phase here and then the honeymoon phase in AEW with CM Punk is kind of eerie, and it makes me wonder if history is gonna repeat itself. Like I'm really starting to wonder that now. Are we really gonna see something where, in like July of next, or I guess of this year, July of this year, we're gonna see a story where it's like, oh, CM Punk punched out R-Truth. R-Truth didn't shake his hand.
Now, what I will say is this: the fact of the situation is this: CM Punk's cashing in his honeymoon phase this time to achieve his ultimate dream, which is main eventing WrestleMania. So he's putting down the chips and banking everything he's all the work he's put in for all these years and all the buzz he's generated about himself and all the hype and everything he's done in his career. He's cashing that in right now to main event night one of WrestleMania against Seth Rollins. That's really what's happening. What happens from there? Who knows? What you're hinting at there, who knows what happens after WrestleMania? Whether he's still a team player on the same page, whether it starts to get stale, whether he starts to grow disgruntled because wrestlers, not McIntyre, but general wrestlers like let's say Damian Priest says a line that was unscripted or says something that crosses Punk, and he doesn't like, or who knows? But I'm not saying it's going to be AEW. WWE has actual leadership back there. What I will say is, who knows? I think, as I said, Punk's cashing in his chips for WrestleMania. From there, honestly, it could go absolutely anywhere. Now, I'm not saying he's going to punch out Paul Levesque, but I'm saying, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? We'll see, pal.
Yeah, it's fascinating that WWE has decided to go the same exact route that AEW went in. I almost felt like that promo with him and McIntyre served no purpose. If McIntyre is not going to wrestle him anytime soon, maybe they could wrestle in Australia. I guess that'd be a pretty good match, right? Would you mind watching Punk versus McIntyre in the Land Down Under?
Honestly, like the main things on that show are going to be probably Cody winning a dogfight elimination chamber match where he's hitting crossroads off the structure, bleeding. He's like crying as he hits Randy Orton with a crossroads, and he's emotional. He's like, "I love you, Randy," and he crossroads him and wins. There'll probably be that. There'll be Roman versus The Rock. So if you're going to do a CM Punk match, you're going to bless me with my GOAT, Phil Brooks, pal. Yeah, have him go on fourth against Drew McIntyre. Have him beat Drew, pal. Good for Drew. He gets to face the mighty Pepsi Phil, pal, then get disgruntled backstage. Good on him. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. McIntyre versus Punk at the Elimination Chamber. That sounds like a good match, assuming Punk probably wins the Rumble, presumably. So
presumably, yeah. Why not? In summary, I don't think that the WWE run for Punk is going to go the same way that AEW's did.
Yeah,
but I don't see that really happening. It was just fascinating to watch that. I was like, wow. And it doesn't feel like a lot of people are talking about that yet. Maybe they need to give it more time. Nevertheless, let's go to the next segment, pal.